LiveRamp's annual RampUp conference has become one of the more interesting gatherings in commerce media. True to the host company's DNA, everything here revolves around first-party data, how to leverage it, how to activate it, and increasingly, how to share it. So offsite retail media was the star of the show at the event last week. And while there, I cornered a few industry peers to get their honest takes on the content, the themes, and the vibe. I'll be sharing my own notes later this week from the session that I moderated with DoorDash and Nestlé, but today, let's hear from some of the other folks who attended. Here's what was being hashed out in the corridor track at RampUp.
I'm Ian Simpson from Centre Tower. I'm the SVP of Innovation and Strategy. I guess my take is that obviously everyone's talking about AI. I think that we are at a very weird inflection point in the world of AI right now where there's a ton of adoption, there's a ton of insecurity, there's a ton of uncertainty, and at the same time there are real world applications that are being made, and the world of agentic is clearly a really big element of conversation, but I don't really think anyone's really figured out how to turn it into something valuable just yet. But I find that what's happening is because everyone is absorbing kind of the same information all at the same time, the conversations are very generic. And so 2 years ago, the last time I came to RampUp, the cookie was still on the way out, and the things that people were dealing with were what's going to be the future what's a cookieless future going to look like? How are we going to handle that? And LiveRamp is here to take the retail media data, which is supposed to solve that, and then make that data available to everybody through the clean rooms. And so it's really a sense of we are all struggling with how we're going to solve this big problem together. Now that's not now the vibe is a lot more just we're all holding our breath to see what's going to happen, and we're trying to take part in it a little bit ourselves too. So that's kind of my take. That's why I feel like it's been a little bit generic.
Hurry up and wait.
I guess you could say that. You could say hurry up and wait.
Hello, it's Sean Crawford, Managing Director for SMG North America. How are we doing? Okay, so really pleased to be back at RampUp. One of the things that is coming through loud and clear in the industry at the moment is agentic, and how that's going to affect retail media, how it's going to affect commerce. Should we all be panicking about retail media dollars coming in, or will it drive incremental growth? My take on it, and having gone to one of the panels today that really did talk about agentic in a lot of detail, is that yes, it's going to impact the industry. But is it going to flip it on its head overnight? And are we going to see a sudden exodus of people no longer shopping in the way they do today? No, we're not going to see that. And the reason behind that is if you look at where the majority of transactions still take place, it's in a physical store. And everyone who's heard me talk before or seen me before knows I love a store. But it's because in grocery, for example, 90+% of transactions are taking place there. So how is agentic going to impact that overnight? It's not. Yes, it will impact the way that retailers run their operations, and yes, it will impact ultimately, and this is broader AI now, it's going to impact how retail operates. But agentic itself isn't going to have a disastrous overnight impact. If anything, it will be additive.
Hey, this is Nicole Lesinski from Nestlé USA. I lead e-com strategy for our frozen division out of Cleveland, Ohio. RampUp has been an awesome opportunity for me to, one, connect with current customers or retail media networks that I'm currently working with, but also new and upcoming. So I've met with a lot of my current customers, but also meeting with Lyft and DoorDash and customers that I'm just starting to really do a lot of work with. But I also was able to speak on a panel, and it was really exciting to be in the room with a lot of industry leaders and just really speaking about my partnership with DoorDash and how we're kind of leading the way in clean room activity and how we're sharing data together and really building insights and into action. So that was really fun to be in that session and share some of the best practice work that we're doing together. I mean, I think I do get a lot of questions after sessions like this. One, I think because we are the largest CPG, and people want to hear from us and want to understand like what our go-to-market strategy is. It was more of just like, hey, loved this session, but want to touch base with you. Mostly people selling stuff. Mostly people selling stuff, which I appreciate. Everyone's doing their job, but I love connecting with people and understanding what what they do for a living, and so it's fun to hear about their stories and their businesses as well, and maybe down the line they can help Nestle. The data side of it is crazy, and like how much mining you can do to get these insights, and I think that's a missed opportunity in the industry. Like we say we're data driven and we have all this data, but are we doing anything with it? Not all of the time. And so that's the action part of it that I want to start taking, and especially with our e-commerce partners like a DoorDash or an Instacart, like understanding that consumer in a new way is like that's what I'm charged to do at Nestle, right? And understanding what our strategy is, so that can help us optimize investment in our go-to-market strategy.
Did you know that leading retail media networks drive 85% of their ads through mid and long tail advertisers? Miracle Ads provides full funnel ad formats tailored to both 1P and 3P advertisers, leveraging unique AI capabilities that provide unprecedented levels of relevance and engagement. Retailers who want to capture ad spend from the long tail of 3P marketplace sellers use Miracle Ads in their tech stack. Learn more at miracle.com. That's MIRAKL.com.
My name is Praveen Menon. I was most recently Senior Director of Product at Bridge, leading a retail media consortium called Ripple. And the session that I really enjoyed the most was I really enjoyed the keynote session. I felt like what I really liked was that they confronted, the vulnerability and the anxiety around AI, but also how we can think about that as a tool to make our lives easier, to do things more fast and efficient, but also how the models are evolving, the business models specifically. I like that there was real clarity around the need for industry standards, even as we kind of evolve how we collaborate around data. I think the data marketplace of evolution I found really interesting because, we build audiences, we put it in these marketplaces, and even though there's these so-called autonomous buying systems like Audience Unlimited or Kokai, we haven't really seen that intelligence translate into how media is planned and transacted. And I think now the ability to, as a media buyer, to not just have to buy segments, but to actually buy models that are trained on that data gets you closer to making that actionable. So I can actually execute a strategy within minutes instead of taking hours and days thinking about what is the right data source, how do I construct an audience on top of it, who can I activate that on, how do I measure it. Now I can run that experiment in minutes, and I think that should make it much easier for people to iterate and learn faster and to kind of evolve how they do things. And I think that just lowers the entry bar for people to, again, use the power and intelligence that's out there, but now it's more accessible for everybody.
4 people, 4 vantage points. Ian sees an industry holding its breath. Sean sees a disruption that's more gradual than the hype suggests. Nicole sees a gap between data access and data action, and Praveen sees a future where AI simplifies media planning itself. I'll be back later this week with my own notes from the session that I moderated at RampUp. Stay tuned.